Hello and welcome to another episode of Indie Miners. This is a special edition. I'm flying solo today. Al is going to take a well-earned break. He says hi, by the way, and we'll be going through the top 5 songs or tracks from the Revolver Outtakes. Now, with Revolver, like a lot of the re-releases from the Beatles over the last few years, they've released the outtakes in relation to a lot of the albums, and this one is no different, and there's 31 in total. Some of those have already been released with the anthology project back in the 90s, but many haven't, and there's a lot of good tracks in there and great to reflect on what it could have been. So here is the top 5 tracks from the 31 tracks that we got from this recent 2022 release. So the 5th one was the I'm Only Sleeping rehearsal fragment. Now this would be an interesting direction for this song to go into. It reminds me a little bit of Pet Sounds and the Beach Boys with some of the instrumentation that was in that particular album. Now this is something that the song didn't quite go into that direction. This is I guess an instrument only track, but it does make you wonder as to what it could have been. She Said. So this is a John demo, so it must have been a very early demo. I thought that it reminded me of Nirvana in some way, so almost like an acoustic Nirvana track. Number 3, And Your Bird Can Sing. Now, there was various flavours of this that were released as outtakes. Now, there was one that had the boys giggling, and I think that was already released in the anthology set. Maybe singing about something about what the song was about. There's a rumour that it's a filthy song about Frank Sinatra. So if you don't know what I mean by that, please look it up. I felt that it was interesting the direction it could have taken. A lot of the melodies were probably going in a slightly different direction compared to the way in which they landed on the album at the end of the day. Number 2 is the Yellow Submarine demo by John. So this has been released by the streaming services before the release of the album. One makes you wonder what this song could have been if John Lennon was only doing it, but it does give you a sense of the direction that he was heading into with the stuff that he was recording in later years, especially tracks like Across the Universe. So this does remind you of that type of style and very vulnerable. It became a different song eventually, but great to have an insight into what the song could have been or what it became or what it was at the beginning. And the last one was Got to Get You Into My Life, which has, instead of the horns, fuzz guitar. And I thought that was interesting from the perspective. It was around about probably a year after I Can't Get No Satisfaction. I think the rumour was, if I can recall correctly, in that the Rolling Stones were considering horns to be in that particular song as opposed to the fuzz guitar. So this is almost like the opposite version of that, if that makes sense. So what we get is, instead of horns, we get fuzz guitar, like we saw on I Can't Get No Satisfaction. And I thought it was very good to listen. I actually I think that the version they released was also very good and highly looked after. But I think that this would have been a very interesting direction to go if they had have just not worried about the horns and went with the fuzz. So Got to Get You Into My Life is that particular version on the Outtakes records was, I think, my standout of all the things that I listened to in that. So that is my quick summation of the outtakes from the Beatles Revolver 2022 remix. That wraps up another episode of Indie Miners. Please look to subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter, and let us know if there's an album you would like us to look at. So until next time, bye for now, and thank you for watching.